Today on the Rudebuoyz rant, we are discussing about how we are basically raising people to completely and utterly disrespect any kind of game officials, obviously, especially in the sports world.
Rudebuoyz, we back upon the scene and ting. This is the Dirty Immigrant.
This Scotland.
Yes, and another podcast coming here to you. And you know what? Let's get right into the vibe.
we just want to jump right into it.
What is up with the rain, though?
I don't, man. Well, for one, we go for pretty much an entire month with not even a tenth of an inch of rain.
Yeah.
And now the last two times that it's come through, we've just been absolutely flooded almost. Yeah, I mean, well, and that wind out there doesn't help out a whole lot because, you're trying to walk with the umbrella and the wind just wants to, pretty much rip it out of your hands or fold it up in a different direction. I mean, so for me walking down here to the station, I'm heading west. So, and the storm is coming from that direction. So that's the breeze is blowing from the west.
Yeah.
So I've got my umbrella basically kind of tipped down a little bit. So I can't even see if anybody's really coming in front of me walking down the sidewalk, Every once in a while you got to try and raise it up just a little bit so you can see, okay, no, I don't see any feet. I don't see any legs. Nobody's coming. Because if you raise it up much more than that wind's going to just rip it back and it's going to, the umbrella's going to go in the other direction.
Luckily, I'm 7'1", so I could see feet coming.
Yeah, you can. I can't. I'm a foot shorter than you are.
Man, and it's getting cold. But I have to say, the only how should I put it? The only good thing about it being cold is women in boots. Women in boots, boy. You know what I mean?
No.
I ain't complaining too much about the weather being cold because of that. Warms the cockles of my heart.
Oh, wow.
On another note, a little bit before we go into that, I told you about this kid named Destroying, right? He's got the YouTube channel, the one that was supposed to go to that school in Florida and the NCAA.
Oh, yeah.
No! Yeah, he actually did a whole thing in Antonio Brown's house.
Oh, yeah?
Whoa. That dude has got this mass. How is he going to keep that house up?
Well, that's why he's wanting his stuff resolved, and he's trying to get back into the NFL now.
Dude, that man's house. I mean,
he's also trying to see if he can go through the NFL Players Association, file grievances to be able to recoup his guaranteed money that the teams quote unquote took away from him. I'm like, come on, man, this stuff was your fault,
dude. This how I mean, even the kid says, man, I could get up in the morning and run whatever, sprints and stuff. This man's house is huge.
Oh, yeah.
He's even got a chapel in his house.
Wow.
He said, this is for my day. Well, it ain't working, bro.
I was going to say, he needs to be doing some more.
I mean, good. And he wasn't even animated. It's like he's on some kind of a medication.
Well, but
not as bad as Kanye
but hang on, though. Every time I've seen him do interviews and things essentially off the field where he has a chance to be kind of away from everything, he's always looked really kind of just toned down,
laid back. Literally.
Yeah. So so I at this point I wouldn't go with he's on any kind of medication or anything like that.
It was just weird seeing him so mellow.
Yeah, but every time I've seen him away, that's the way he is. That's the way he looks, and
maybe
that's the way he acts.
Football is not good for him.
I don't know. Because he actually, a lot of the different things that the NFL is doing this year to celebrate 100 years. Okay, Peyton Manning's doing a bunch of episodes called Peyton's Places, and he's kind of taking a look back at a lot of the NFL history and whatever. Well, one he did was with Raymond Berry, Hall of Famer that played with the Baltimore Colts in the 50s and 60s, and they were talking about, the way that, Barry and Johnny Unitas used to practice a lot of their routes and things like that, and all the different things they used to do. Like one drill was, Barry would stand with his back completely turned to Johnny, and then it was either there was a sound or something that they would do. Maybe United just like pump the ball or something or pat it, and he'd turn around, and at that point, here comes the ball, and I got to try and catch it. And so Peyton Manning brought out Antonio Brown, and they did it. And this was filmed during last season, so before he ended up basically bailing on the Steelers, but he was real toned down through the whole thing. He barely even spoke. He was very cordial with Raymond Berry. It was one of those like, hey, this is an honor to meet you, type of thing. Yeah. And so he would, and it's weird because that episode came out during the time that, he's making all this ruckus with the Raiders, and, he's already quit on the Steelers, and he's, doing all these things to basically make him look like a complete moron. And then here he is doing this thing with Peyton Manning and Raymond Berry and being just a real nice, calm, like I said, very cordial, just very respectful of the whole thing. So I don't know.
You think the football world is not treating them with too much respect or something.
I don't know, but part of it may also do with just how we are as fans, which can kind of lead into what we want to talk about. But another thing real quick, too, how we've talked about how it seems like everybody can make a buck off of college players except for the players.
Yeah.
So our last Marshall football home game, Marshall's winning. They're up by 2 touchdowns, and they've got the ball in the closing moments, and they actually get the ball down to the 5. Well, instead of going for another touchdown and basically rubbing it in Old Dominion's face, because there's less than a minute to go. Even if Marshall scores, there's nothing Old Dominion can really do in 30 seconds to try and come back 3 touchdowns or even 2 touchdowns. So Marshall kneels down. Now, normally, when a team gets into their what's called victory formation and they just kneel the ball to let the clock run out, the fans are all, yeah, we got the win, Some of our fans started booing. You know why? Because Marshall didn't cover the spread. The spread was like 16 or 16 and a half, apparently, and Marshall only won by 14. So people were potentially losing money on this game because Marshall didn't go score another touchdown. So, again, another case of, I can make a buck off of you, but you shouldn't be able to do anything.
Yeah, well, you want money for
you're getting your school paid for. What? Shut up.
It's the same thing with minimum wage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're busting your tail, working hard while I make the big bucks. What are you complaining about?
Yeah, exactly.
See, and that's the same thing we're going to talk about with how they treat the referees. It's a societal thing.
It really is. It's a problem. It's okay, so... as you heard in the quick intro there at the beginning, just talking about how it looks like we're raising people to be completely disrespectful of game officials, no matter what sport it is and no matter what level it is. Okay, everybody's obviously talking now about the problems with missed calls in the NFL, and fans have a little bit more of an advantage than the refs do because we can watch the game on TV or, heck, even at the stadium because they love putting slow-motion replays up on the big board all the time. We can watch it from 5 or 6 different camera angles and in really slowed-down motion. So it's easy for us to sit there and go, oh, my God, how did you miss that call? Or, oh, my God, that is clearly not, whatever you threw the flag for. And then in some cases, like with the game Sunday night, was that the Sunday night or the Monday night game? I think it was the Sunday night game.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Monday night game between the Packers and the Lions. There were 2 hands to the face penalties called on Trey Flowers of the Lions, who has never in his career had a hands to the face penalty called on him. And he got 2 towards the end. And, so they were able to go back and zoom in on it and really kind of center it and zoom in even further so that you could see, okay, yeah, his hands weren't in the offensive lineman's face. This is not a penalty. So fans are getting all riled up about that because then that ends up leading to the Packers able to kick a game-winning field goal in the final seconds. So, everybody again is, oh, my God, this referee needs to be fired and all blah, 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 blah. Look, we're not watching it in real motion. And when you see a guy's head getting kind of tipped back in the way that it was, you can understand why in real motion, ref might throw the flag. But, you get fans who will scream all over social media calling these referees every dirty name in the book.
And death threats, too.
Yeah, and sometimes, too, you'll get somebody who, I'm sorry, you clearly have no life, who will create a page, like a Twitter page or whatever, or Twitter handle of, basically bashing whoever this is, whoever the ref is. And it just, I'm getting so tired of it. And yes, I've seen instances where, referees are really, really bad. But other times where it's kind of like, look, you're getting to see this in a completely different way than they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are right there on the field, but they're watching this in real-time motion where bodies are going all over the place and everything's happening in fractions of a second. Something that happens in about half a second real time, we get to watch in slow motion that they're able to slow down so this thing lasts 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You can see this and go, oh, my goodness, look at that. That's not how it happens in real life, And like we've had parents who have gotten in fights with officials at Little League games. We've had officials across the world who have been murdered after soccer matches because somebody thinks that they blew a call or, blew the game or whatever it was. All my years working in, college athletics now, working with softball, the things that I've heard fans and parents, especially parents, screaming at umpires, it just makes you want to throw up sometimes.
And then when their kids act up, they go,
Oh, yeah, well, that's, okay, yeah, I should have gone straight into that then. So then now we have players who just, the things that they say to refs. One of our administrators here, Marshall, I know he referees basketball outside of what he does here. And I asked him one day, we were at a soccer game, and it was right after I saw what looked like a very heated exchange from one of the players to a ref. And I asked him, I said, do you referee soccer too or just basketball? And he goes, oh, I would never touch soccer. He said, because by the end of the game, it would be a one-on-one. He said, I'd be red carding everybody for the things that they say to refs. And, man, he's not kidding. I was an intramural ref, and you got to witness one of those games. The things that people will say to you because they think that you missed something. Now, look, I was definitely not a perfect referee by any stretch of the imagination, but there are some times that literally nothing happened, and somebody is so insanely mad at you that you didn't blow the whistle, that you didn't throw a flag, that, you didn't whatever, that it looks like they're ready to tear your head off. Okay, obviously the game that I'm talking about that you remember seeing was the one between the frat boys and the foreigners.
Yeah. And we all know the foreigners going to beat them.
Oh, my gosh. It was. If I wasn't a ref, this was funny to watch. Because, the foreigners were able to take the ball away from the frat boys without touching them.
Yeah.
Okay, in intramural soccer, you can't slide.
Damn immigrants. Taking the American ball.
Yeah, taking our wins. I heard that. But, okay, so you can't slide tackle in intramural soccer. You get an automatic red card. So these guys are able to jump in and take this ball away from them without even touching them. So the frat boys are taking dives all over the places. I mean, one guy will come up and he'll do a couple of nice little doot-doot and take the ball and start going, and the kid will just flop. And I remember one in particular, he took a great big old flop, and the other guy didn't even touch him. And what happens? I'm standing right there. I am 5 yards away from this play. And he gets up, puffs out his chest, and sticks up his arms like he's, going, about to be.
Like an angry ape.
Yeah, exactly. About to be a gorilla. And this frat boy comes up to me and goes, man, why did you blow the whistle? Where's the, cussing at me. And I stuck my hand. He's looking like he's ready to come fight me. And I stuck my hand. I was like, whoa, he didn't even touch you. Me and the other guy who are reffing, we're really thinking, at any minute, somebody's going to jump us because we're not blowing whistles for phantom fouls.
Well, but you see, listen, man, you're supposed to blow the whistle. You're supposed to side with the home team. You were breaking protocol.
Home team. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this is Marshall students against Marshall students. We got 2 home teams out here. I don't care that it's the team full of white frat boys and a team full of foreigners.
You were breaking protocol. Because I remember when we were boxing back home and we go to another island. You know what I mean? Their refs would be calling punches that wasn't even thrown.
Yeah.
And then when I started refereeing, they expected me to do the same thing. No.
Yeah.
I wasn't a very popular referee. Why did you do this? Yeah,
well, you know what? I mean, some of it kind of comes to even what my job is now with being an official scorer during games. I've had people tell me that at certain big schools, like especially in the game of softball, that the people who are scoring the game will do anything and everything to basically give something to their team, and it's any wonder why some of these pitchers have ERAs of 1 or lower, and some of these teams are batting .380 as a team. And it's like, well, it's because that play that should have been an error, they gave a hit to the home team, or that play that should have been a hit, they gave an error because it protects their pitcher's ERA now. And I remember saying something to the coach about it, and she goes, well, that's what we should be doing. And I went, no. I was like, that is not right what they're doing. I don't care if the bigger schools are doing it that way. That's not correct. That's not the way this should be done. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not in the business of let's just hand out stats. I'm like, no, this is what it is. This is what happened. Yes, that was an error. No, that was a hit. Whatever it is. I'm like, I'm not here to just hand stuff out.
Hey, they're going to be doing that, but let a brother get a meal from somebody.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
He's kicked off the team.
Yeah.
You don't eat, bruh. Yeah. What's wrong with you? Starve.
But going back to, obviously, the game officials, I mean, just some of the stuff that we hear parents yell, is it any wonder that then the kids have absolutely no respect for game officials?
And then that, of course, too, and I'm always breaking it out to the little broader world. Mm-hmm. The respect. I even saw. I don't know if it was ESPN, but they had a whole segment where 2 guys were just sitting there complaining like crazy about the referees and having somebody in the sky to watch over them and all of that. And I hate to put it this way, but it's always old white guys complaining. It's always that.
Well, but on the flip side of that, when you go to the player level, and you got the players that are griping, obviously a lot of the majority of the players
I mean, no pun intended, monkey see, monkey do.
Whoa.
Yeah, call me a racist. Why don't you? Go ahead. Say it.
But we really are raising people to be completely disrespectful. And look, you can have an official that misses one call. They can get everything else right, but they miss that one. And that's what everybody's going to remember.
See, I remember officials getting yelled at and stuff back home, but it was more funny than anything else. You know what I mean?
I mean, this stuff, before every, I don't know about pro games, but before every collegiate game, the NCAA mandates that we have to have our PA do this read, where it's, promote good sportsmanship, so please treat, players and coaches and officials in a, basically saying, don't be unruly idiots, fans, please. Let's treat them with respect. And you can be 1 minute into a contest, and it's F this on the ref and F this to the player, and
what a blue.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, it just
see the fun. I think what's funny about back when I was growing up. I don't know how it is now, but they always have the less than sharp person being the referee.
Less than sharp. I'm sure that's what everybody thinks now.
It's like rap and the ref. He can't.
Well, there's obviously the joke of have you gone and got your eyes checked, and that sort of stuff. Oh,
yeah, who's in your pocket or whose pocket you're in or something like that.
You need to go back. I see you're wearing glasses, but you need to get them checked again. How could you miss that?
But, a lot of people think it's cool to do stuff like that, too,
yeah,
actually.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember going to a basketball game here with this one dude, and there was a call, and he's like, hey, ref, who's got you in the pocket? And I was like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and like I said, he was thinking it was cool to do that because there were some girls sitting there.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And the girls just roll their eyes to it. Or
well, you know what?
Man, you're blocking me. We don't even try.
Well, look, I'll admit this. You know, some games that I've been to, football games, especially in the student section, if there's a call they don't like, they love to chant BS.
Yeah.
Obviously saying the word. And, you know, sometimes you just get caught up in it. You know, especially if, again, you get the chance to see that replay and go, oh, come on, that was not pass interference, or that was not holding, that was not, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, again, we get to watch it up there in slow motion. They saw the thing happen in real time. And so I'm not proud of the fact that I was up there being one of the ones to chant BS after a missed call or whatever. So I will admit that. You know, I've thrown that out there to go along with this conversation. I've been a part of that, not proud of it.
Used to be referees didn't just have control over the players, but if something go on in the stands, they could stop the play and says, stop it.
Well, they
now
did.
They probably get stoned.
Well, they did. Did you? I don't know if you've seen. It was the soccer game between, was it England and Bulgaria or something like that? And the officials stopped it because of the racist chants that were coming from the stands. Yeah, you know. And some of the stuff I remember Jake was talking about in the office the other day, and he, you know, some of the stuff that they were saying, he goes, "Man, didn't we fight a war about this?" You know, I mean, basically talking about, you know, people, you know,
giving the Hitler sign.
Yeah, what is the Zig Heil or whatever it is, something like that.
Or whatever they call it.
So. Yeah, I mean, and that's what he was saying. He's like, man, didn't we fight a war over this to stop this? Like a world war to stop this type of thing? And, you know, fans are just doing it. But yeah, it really does seem to be the trendy thing of, I need to just rip this official, you know? Okay, and in the case of softball games, there will be one pitch that to the fans, they'll think, oh my God, how did you not call that a strike? And so down comes all of the nasty screaming and all that sort of stuff, and, you know, and the cussing and whatever. And, you know, and I'm sitting up in the press box, and I'm just thinking, like, man, you all got to stop this. You know, I don't know.
Well, but, you know,
fans are young. Parents can be the absolute worst. And, you know, okay, especially with softball games, when you've got fans who are sitting to the side of home plate, they're not even directly behind. And so all they can see is the height of a pitch. So, yeah, you know what? That might have been belt high. Oh, my God, ump, how could you not call that a strike? Well, it was also about 8 inches off the plate. That's why, I didn't call it a strike. And there have actually been times where I've been calling a game on the radio where I have a pretty decent view because I'm kind of sitting behind home plate. And I know you can hear it on the broadcast because I can hear it in my ears. Fans start screaming and yelling and booing that the umpire didn't call it a strike. And I will say, and I'm sure those of you at home are, hearing the disagreement from the fans. Folks, that was well off the plate. Like these people are sitting off to the side. They could only see that, yes, this pitch was about belt high, but that thing was off the plate. I mean, fans with a side angle think they know what the strike zone is. You don't have a freaking clue. You only have one half of it. You can tell the height of it. That's it. You can't tell side to side how far that thing went. And it just...
And you see the thing about it, too, unlike everyday life, sports is supposed to be entertainment. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be something where you go and enjoy.
Yeah.
That's when I played college basketball, even way back then, to hear people yell stuff and carry on.
Yeah,
that was more of a distraction to me than anything else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not yelling stuff at me, but just yelling at the referee and stuff. Like I remember fouling the crap out of somebody, and the fan was like, "He didn't do it," and I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, I did."
Like I decked him, basically.
Jacked his dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's why when I was playing college ball, they didn't like me very much because I would own up to my stuff. Yeah,
well, and
my man did it.
But you know what though, and that's unfortunately what we don't teach here in this country. The culture is, don't admit to your mistake. Heck, I was told with my broadcasts, hey, you don't admit when you make a mistake. You never point it out. I'm like, everybody knows I did.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But, so you'll see people all the time that they just made a foul or whatever it was that will sit there and scream at a ref and it's like, you know you did this.
See, that's
you know you touched the ball last, and yet you're going to sit here and cuss me out because I called it out on you?
Yeah.
Like, you know you touched it. And it just...
See, they want you to double down. That's why we have such horrible politicians right now.
Yeah.
Because they're doubling down on their mistakes instead of...
I never said that. Here we've got the video of it. Well, you took that out of context.
Or no, it was doctored.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know
I know what you all can do with Photoshop
Fake
now.
News.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, some of them would like Photoshop with their small hands. Anyway.
So much is making himself choke over here.
But
I get so tired of it, now, because
and you even see it in like political rallies where they have you have the BS chant in football, but they have lock him up, lock her up, or you have people sitting in the stands yelling stuff. You know what I mean? Even yelling at the moderators at debates. Yeah. They're yelling at, you know what I mean? It's like, so.
Okay.
I don't know if society is, how should I put it, filing into sports. The societal attitude is filing into sports, or vice versa. Like, people have been getting away with it in sports so much that now
it's everyday life.
Filtered into everyday life. Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about this, too. When each week when we have Doc Holliday's weekly press conferences during the season.
That's the coach, peeps.
Yeah, football coach. I'm sorry.
We got Grenadians listening. They don't know who Doc Holliday is.
The American football coach, for those of you who might be international listeners. But during those press conferences, we stream it on Facebook Live through the Marshall Athletics page, and people will start commenting on there. And they will get angry if journalists who are there don't ask certain questions that the fans want answered. Like, look, I hope you all don't think that the journalists are sitting there with Facebook up on their phones going, "Oh, hey, coach, by the way, so-and-so from South Carolina wants to know, why didn't you bench the quarterback in the first quarter last game because he was already sucking?" And like, they're not doing that. The journalists have their own questions that they're going to ask, so that so they deal with that stuff. But I mean, they really. Another fun one is how fans think that coaches and players are looking at this stuff during a game. Oh my God, what's wrong with the offensive coordinator? You need to open up the playbook. Yeah, he's sitting up there in the coach's booth going, "Oh man, fans are riding me right now, guys. We better open up the playbook. Let's go.
George Schmo from Bum Creek just.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously for our job, sitting up there in the press box, we get to see the comments, whether they're coming on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever, and I'll sit there and laugh, like, do these people really think that the coaches are looking at this? They'll rip a quarterback. Oh my God, how could you make that throw? He's not looking at this right now.
He never will.
Exactly. What are you talking? How could you make this throw? I mean, what does he think? A coach is going to suddenly be able to get in his ear through that radio and say, "Hey, the fans are asking, how could you make that throw?" No, folks, come on.
You see, it's that
and the same thing with riding the referees. They're doing that during a game, and like the refs are not looking at the Facebook comment feed during a game.
It's an ownership thing. They think they own these people. You know what I mean?
I own the ref, even though you must be in the other team's pocket, but I own you.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I could tell you what to do, and you better pay attention to me. It's kind of like people coming into the grocery store and have an EBT card and want Gucci service.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? Some of this actually, as far as talking about how it kind of goes into everyday life, there's not a lot of things that I like that Stephen A. Smith says because he's normally screaming everything. But okay, this stuff lately that's been happening with the NBA in China, and I guess everybody's ticked about LeBron James and what he said. And look, I don't know enough about the situation to really comment either way on what was said. But I did hear one this morning that Stephen A. Smith was saying, people in this country want to, puff out their chest and, preach democracy this and free speech this until it's something I disagree with you on, then you should be fired.
Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, and that's where it comes down to, okay, well, you just need to shut up and dribble. You just need to shut up and play ball. Or you know what? You need to be fired. You don't deserve to have your job anymore because you said something that I disagree with.
Yeah.
Okay, I never watched the show Duck Dynasty, but I remember when people wanted that show to get canceled because one of the guys on it just said, you know what, hey, I think homosexuality is wrong. I'm sorry, I believe in what the Bible says. And for that, oh my God, that show needs to be canceled. That man needs to lose his job. He needs to lose all of his money. He didn't say anything violent. He didn't say, yeah, I think homosexuality is wrong. Those people all need to just be sent to an island and just nuked. He just said, I'm sorry, I think it's wrong. I just believe in what the Bible says.
You can't make everybody believe what you want them to believe.
Exactly. But but we have gotten to a point where if you say something that I disagree with, you need to lose your job.
You know what I mean?
You need to be fired. You need to shut the hell up.
The thing about it is, especially in that situation, since we all know that homosexuality is not detrimental to anybody. You know, it's not going to jack up anybody that's not homosexual psyche. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Well, and look, honestly, God's going to solve all this in the end.
Yeah.
If homosexuality is honestly wrong, then they won't get into heaven, you know, for what everybody believes. But, you know, God's going to figure all that out.
Not everybody believes.
No, I know. But I mean,
I'm going where the party is. You know, a continual bonfire, you know.
But it really does come down to, I disagree with what you said. And you know what, and even back to the sports level with officials, okay, for me, with watching a whole lot of softball games, you can watch a pitch that is in this one particular spot, and if it's the home team's pitcher that threw it and it wasn't called a strike, everybody's gonna cuss the umpire out. But if like say if you could prove with computers, and how you can probably do that now with cameras and computers, that then when the opposing team pitcher throws a pitch that goes in that exact same spot as well, and it's called a ball, yeah, good call, Blue. There you go. Good call. That's right.
Yeah.
That's not a strike. That's right. But then the very next inning, here comes a pitch on that exact same spot again from the home team's pitcher. Oh my God! How could you not? Bleep.
I've noticed something though, but I've noticed with people around me to a certain degree. If I say something they disagree with, they don't get that angry with me. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. Maybe they feel like they can't get mad at a foreigner because then it'll make them look racist or something. See, you're black and a foreigner, so if I get mad at you, then I'm
talking about doubling down.
Yeah. He's got two on him. He's
you could also add him 7 feet tall to another discriminated against group of people. Yeah. And let's not forget good looking too. That's a fourth one, another discriminated against.
How's the weather out there? Oh, I'm sure you hear that all the time.
You know what I mean? Let me do a number 1 on you and tell you it's raining. Because you are short. It'll feel like it's coming from the clouds.
Oh my. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude.
But I mean, you do see, especially here now with working at a university, you see and you hear the things that student athletes are saying to game officials, and you just go, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I didn't like being an intramural ref anymore. I mean, one of the things that I did like about it, I mean, you're getting exercise. You're out there running around, you're still around a game. And when I told the guy who was heading up intramurals at the time over at the rec center that I was done, he goes, man, you're my best game manager. I can't lose you. And it's because I was willing to break up fights and that I could de-escalate things, before they even got to fights a lot of times. And and I was like, I'm sick and tired of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy in a basketball game one time, 2 players collide, but clearly there was one that the foul should be called on because he was the one that initiated, I'm not going after the ball, I'm going after you type of thing. But they were both wearing the same number, but obviously different teams. And so the way that we were told to call it, when you're looking at the scores table so that they could obviously mark down who the foul was on, you say the number and then the color of the jersey they're wearing. So I looked at the table and I said, foul on number 5, and the guy who got fouled just about was ready to explode. I mean, he went, "What?" And I put my hand out and went, "Red." And he looked down and he says, "Oh, I'm wearing blue." I was like, calm down. I said, "You guys are wearing the same number."
Yeah.
"Oh man, I'm sorry." I mean, he was about to rip my head off.
Yeah.
If let's say I called the foul on him, I think he was ready to fight me at that point.
Yeah.
And
what? And that's why I quit playing just pickup ball anymore, man. Because people like like they in the NBA,
you and I
like
broke
that.
up fights in there.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like, dude, it's just a pickup game.
You're supposed to be just out here having some fun, getting some exercise.
You don't even have money on the game.
Shoot.
But you see,
there's no scouts in the stands,
See,
I mean,
that's where society has fallen to. I'm a better man. I'm stronger, but nobody wants to be smarter than anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't.
Well, Trump thinks he's smarter than everybody else, and he's trying to tell everybody, hey, it's not your fault. You're dumber than I am.
I saw a clip where all he's saying is like, and I know all about nuclear this, and I know all about oil, and I know all about business, and I know more than most people, or know more about anybody than this. And and he just keeps going and going.
He's the ultimate. I'm patting myself on the back. I'm patting myself on the back. I am so good. I am so smart.
He's the ultimate. I'm trying to convince myself of such.
Well, that's what I think about with people where I pat myself on the back all the time. So that's
okay.
Because nobody else is going to praise me, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Before we let's switch it up a little. Did you see the latest police shooting?
No,
dude. But I didn't, dude.
Unfortunately, my whole life right now is surrounded by sports.
So, in Texas, this woman was at home with her nephew.
Okay.
Woman is playing video games with her nephew.
Okay.
Well, the door was open and the lights was on, so the neighbors called the police to go do a welfare check on this woman. The police shows up, okay?
Oh,
this one policeman is outside going around, okay?
Okay.
He sees the woman. Hands up! 0.6 seconds. Pow! Killed that woman.
Good grief.
At first I thought he had entered the house and she startled him and he shot her.
He was still outside?
He was outside. He shot the woman through the window. And you know what? People are trying to justify it. There were actual people on comment section, because I read the comment section. I don't comment because, there were people trying to justify it. Well,
it's the same thing. If you comment on it, people are going to rip you just like a game official.
And the thing about it is there was actual cops on there saying, no, this guy should be charged with murder. And they ripped the cop for saying that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, why? Well, you should be with it. The dude, listen. He's outside. And you know what? The first thing they said, there was guns in the house. He didn't know that. He was outside the house. He shot this woman outside the window. I'm telling you, I'll think twice before I call. If I'm in my house and I hear a burglar, I'll growl like a big dog before I call a cop. Because where I live, we're a minority. So I'll be the dude in there, and they'll think it's me, not him.
Yeah.
He'll be dirty, raggedy, but he's the right color.
And you're also bigger than he is.
No, I'll be like, so
he's like, oh my God, what kind of dog is in here?
You know what I mean?
This thing sounds huge.
It's a Tasmanian dog. You know what I mean? No one understand why black people go woof woof woof. It's practice.
Oh man,
practice to scare off burglars instead of calling the cop. Ooh, 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 ooh.
This guy was outside.
Outside, dude. Outside. You know what I mean? And he went and quit before they fired him and they charged him with murder. He was outside. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? I will say this: if he ended up quitting, then he's probably somebody with a conscience. And if he is, then I feel bad for him, because this is going to haunt him for the rest of his life. This one bad decision, And
during all of this, somebody found to blame Obama because he started, and it didn't have anything to do with the situation per se, because he started the hatred of cops.
Oh my.
That's why I don't comment on anything anymore, because people say this kind of stuff. It's like, where did this come from?
I I don't know. I mean, that's why, like with the discussion about being able to just scream whatever you want at game officials and, parents acting like that. I mean, honestly, when did that start? You know?
And I was having a conversation with this lady, and she's older. She's older than me. And she started off with this younger generation, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, we taught them that.
Yes.
And she went, well, and I said, no, well, I'll give you a perfect example. And I told her the story about the guy who told his dog, because we were talking about the people not working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I told her about the gentleman who told his granddaughter to come to work where I used to work before, because she doesn't have to do anything. I said, we teach them that inadvertently. But he was complaining, and then she ended up agreeing with me.
Yeah.
Because, we teach them that. And sometimes we don't think when we speak. We just speak, thinking we making it easier for them, because all of us want to make it easier for our kids instead of teaching them how to freaking work.
And honestly, the same thing back on the sports side. When you see, okay, on this level, a student athlete be a complete brat to game officials, you go, oh my God. And then you meet their parents and you listen to how they talk to game officials and other people, and you go, that's where they got it from.
And nobody would
You're
go
just
up to
like your parents.
Nobody would go up to their kid and say, you're wrong for doing that. You should show some respect. Their parents ain't going to do that. They're going to go, you're right. Tell him, girl. Tell him, boy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've seen it happen a lot. And this is one of the reasons why I don't go to sporting events. It's not fun anymore. It's people always yelling angry stuff, and they're always angry about something.
I have actually seen sometimes, too, where the kids are embarrassed because of what their parents are yelling. I was like, well, at least you do have a brain.
I have actually seen clips on YouTube where the kids said, Mom, shut up. I saw a clip one time where this, little itty-bitty kids, okay? And, two clips, but this one was baseball. And one kid is running to the home plate, and the other kid just stick his hand out, and the other kid hit him in his helmet with his glove.
Okay.
And, of course, this kid is like, and the mother just went off.
Oh,
hey, he just hurt my kid. Well, if you don't want your kid getting hit by a glove, if you don't want your kid running his head into the glove, because that's what happened, keep him off the field. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I saw one where there was wrestling, and one kid had another kid like twist over pinning him, and his hand was like this. And the parents and the kid was like that. And I guess the kid was screaming, stop, stop. And the referee didn't do anything about it. And the parent was like, he was screaming, stop. It's a sporting event. One kid is trying to pin the other. Yeah. If you don't want your kid to get twisted up like that, don't have him play sports. Instead of sitting there wanting to beat the umpire or the ref up, or what they call him in wrestling, because he didn't stop it because the kid is screaming. Well, the other kid is trying to pin him.
Yeah. Probably still doing a legal move. I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know that much about wrestling, but yeah.
Here comes these two not in shape parents yelling and screaming. Way off the thing. I know this is where some people are going to go, oh, you're shaming people. But it's the premise of the thing. I'm walking down the street, going by the Salvation Army.
Okay.
And somebody, of course, that I think I recognize him. He said, hey, Andy! Hey, what's up, man? And so he left a group of people. I know he ain't gonna be listening to this podcast. It's not conservative enough. But so he come up to me, he started talking, and I was rushing back home, and I had to get some Doritos. I was rushing back home to go record some more stuff from a YouTube channel. And then he starts saying, why don't you come on over here later, man? We got, we got food and all kind of stuff like that. And then I said, well, what's going on over here? And he said, it's a revival. And I said, nah, I got stuff to do. And then I said, then by the looks of you guys, I'm not going to eat what you eat.
And your knees might really be hurting.
You know what I mean? And I know that was kind of mean, but you know what I mean? When I look around, it's like, man, you guys got to watch what you eat. I know you're going to call that fat shaming, but, there's a point. Okay.
Well,
okay,
again,
it's kind of like...
again, the unfortunate thing is they make it so much cheaper and easier to eat unhealthy than it is to eat healthy.
Dude, I'm not making no money, and I make it a point.
Well, hang on, though. For a little bit of an argument here with that is, okay, you're also on your own. When you've got even, okay, a married couple, maybe they're both working, but still not, something that they can live off of that well, and they've got a family to try and feed. What's cheaper and easier, going with Hamburger Helper?
What's cheaper? Stop breeding.
There goes the human race. Heard right here. If you want to save money on food, stop breeding. Right here. There's the answer.
Since you all love rich people so much, let them do the breeding.
Oh my God, boy, that's gonna turn out great for this world.
You know what I'm saying?
Then we're going to have more spoiled brats everywhere.
Let them do it. You populate the earth with your spoiled brats boo-hooing about stuff.
Oh, man.
People, that whole section there is not meant to be offensive. I just think people should. Because, I'm not saying, I just said I went and got Doritos.
Yeah.
You don't have to eat completely bad. You could buy a little thing here, and when you buy your vegetable and stuff, don't splash it down with vanilla oil and slap in some pork fat and stuff in there. That's not eating healthy.
I put teriyaki sauce on it. That stuff is so good.
Yeah, but you generally eat healthy though.
I try to, but again, when you get some of that stuff and you're hoping, okay, hopefully I didn't spend that much, and then everything goes through and you go, crap, I did again. Some of that stuff is just not. It's just not cheap.
It's kind of like me with college basketball. I could keep playing and probably have potential to go make millions, or I could walk.
Yeah.
I could keep playing and potentially make millions, or I could have a horrible life with all the other players trying to sleep with my wife. I chose to be poor. Going back a little bit to the LeBron situation, there's another reason why I don't regret stop playing basketball.
Yeah.
The whole shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why people are so pissed off at LeBron, because they think he's not smart enough to say what he said.
Yeah.
Because even liberals are saying no, because apparently what he said is sort of leaning towards the Chinese side
to what people are saying, it sounds like he went with where the money is instead of
it's not like he could be a CEO and make money. Ouch. Anyway. But so the liberals are like, I remember when Laura Ingraham or whatever that woman's name is, the talking head, said that he should shut up and play dribble. They were all on his side. He should speak.
Oh yeah,
speak, LeBron, speak.
Yeah.
But no, it's like
exactly.
I don't think he was well informed to make that statement.
You said something I disagree with, so you need to shut up.
You know what I'm saying?
I did a part on this in a. In my capstone ethics paper for journalism, talking about the way that the media treats athletes, because I remember watching an interview one time and everybody got all riled up about this with Tiger Woods, and this was before all of his sex scandals and whatever came out. But this is when the war in Iraq was just getting rolling, or in the early 2000s, when Bush was president. And people were asking him, what do you think about it? Do you think America should get involved in this? And he was like, look, I just want to talk about the next tournament coming up. He's like, I'm just here to talk about golf. And people were blasting him for this. You need to say something. You're in a position. You need to speak up. You need to speak out against this. But what would those people who were screaming that Tiger Woods needed to speak out, what would they have done if he would have said, well, you know what, I think Saddam Hussein is an evil person and we need to go get him. I agree with the fact that Bush has sent the troops over there. Oh, you need to shut up and just swing your golf club. Stop talking. Just talk about golf. That's all you're good at anyway. Like, he was in a lose-lose situation. If he speaks out against the war, then obviously you got people who are going to be praising his glory, and you got people who are going to tell him, man, just shut up and swing a golf club. That's all you do. You're a golfer. Shut up. Or on the other side, oh, hey, actually, I support the troops going over there. I support the war. Then it's, oh, shut up. It's going to be the flip sides, And then same thing, he chooses not to speak about it, and people rip him for it.
Yeah.
Like, man.
You see, that is why I'm so glad I quit playing college basketball and I'm not in the NBA, because nobody could tell me shut up. And dribble.
Didn't you say, too, that one guy tried to come up and ask you about the team and you basically just asked him, what about apartheid in South Africa? And you said that he just didn't say a word and walked away.
Oh, he walked away, man. He ain't trying to hear that from me. He's trying to hear intelligence. He's trying to hear, oh, you're a stud.
Yeah.
That's what he was, you want me to talk. And quite frankly, I didn't know anything about basketball that much back then.
Yeah.
To have a conversation like, I mean, I know about the game and the rules.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care about teams and who is the best team. And, I don't even have a favorite NBA team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have I like Michael Jordan, but the operative word is like. I don't even have a favorite basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching Michael Jordan. I also like watching Julius Erving back in the day.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. And I wasn't having fun, so I quit.
Yeah. And you know what? Last thing here, I'm so glad that I was raised in a house that was not a fanatic of a team, because I feel like now, especially once I got deep into football, because when I was a kid and I was a 49ers fan, I was all about them, and there'd be other things like I've said before. If I heard the name Leonard Marshall, it used to make me growl, because he was the guy that knocked Montana out of the NFC Championship game in 1991. But I've moved on from that, and I've realized, wow, that was kind of dumb. I mean, somebody could say, yeah, you were 8 years old. I'm like, yeah, but it was still stupid, to act like that. But I'm so glad that my parents weren't fanatical about a team, so that way I can sit back and I can enjoy anybody who's playing. And also, my parents were never ones to scream at refs. I mean, I was playing a Little League basketball game, and a kid came flying in with his knee up and drilled me in the chest. Now, he got a foul called on him, but my parents weren't up there screaming, oh, he needs to be kicked out. That kid should never be allowed to play again, and whatever. They just wanted to know, hey, you okay? Your face went white there for a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I couldn't breathe for a few moments. But they weren't screaming that this kid needed to be kicked out of the league or anything like that. And yelling at the refs that they didn't just send him out and whatever. And so I'm really glad that I didn't grow up with that, because then now that might be me. Yeah. I might be screaming these things and whatever. And thank you, Mom and Dad.
My mom just never came to any of my games.
Well, maybe because she thought, I'm not screaming at that referee when he did.
My mom just was not interested in sports, period.
Yeah.
Until the Mets won in '86, and then she's a Mets fan. You know what I mean? Talking about baseball. I was like, what?
Well, she got caught up in the mania.
You never come watch your son run a 1,500 meter race.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But suddenly the Mets, oh my God.
Oh, Dwight Gooden. No.
Darryl Strawberry.
Oh, yeah,
no.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, we better get out of here.
Yeah.
Ting. This is going to drop later today. It's
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Thank you all for tuning in. And again, let's try and calm down with just a lot of this hatred. You know what? I know a whole lot of people out there are sports fans, and I'm thinking maybe if they can calm down with some of that stuff with sports, maybe they can calm down with some things in real life as well. Don't sit there and scream at a referee, and then when you go to some fast food place, scream at the employee just because they made a mistake. Yes, exactly. Scream at.
Although I've
the
never had
employees.
anybody scream at me.
Well,
they just go call and says he don't like black people.
I was gonna say either that or you're too high up, your head's in the clouds, and you can't hear it getting up there.
Yeah, it might start raining on them. Anyway,
time to say goodnight after that one.
Yeah, y'all take care. Don't let that system get you down.
It's the Rudebuoyz.